Such complicated.
Hi there guys, I'm Chris Bowden with the Geek Group, and today we're talking about batteries. This has been part of a series we've been doing this week. We just did the maintenance charger thing for small batteries, and today we're going to talk about adding water to big batteries, and the biggest battery we have is the yellow forklift. So we're going to open this up for you. And this is how to change water and add water and do basic maintenance on a large battery. And that's pretty much as big as they get in common everyday service. And unless you happen to have your own personal submarine, this is probably the largest battery you're likely to come across. This is a gargantuan forklift battery. And the first thing we're going to do is unplug it for safety, so we're unplugged. Now what this is a collection of smaller batteries, which are a collection of cells. Each thing here basically is a cell. At first glance I thought these were separate batteries, but I don't think they are, because I think this is set up the way it's wired. They just use multiple, like these are wired in parallel with multiple bridges, so just to increase current capacity. Now most cells in a lead acid environment are right around 1.2 volts, and they're lead and other metals, usually zinc, copper, it varies, and they're in plates inside, and the whole thing is submerged in acid, battery acid. And it gets hot in charging and in use. This generates a lot of heat. So because it's the acid inside, it contains a lot of water, the water evaporates off, and this requires regular maintenance. This is why you see, like in your car, you probably have what it'll be labeled right on top, maintenance free, and that means it's a sealed lead acid battery. Well, these aren't sealed, and even the ones that are sealed often really aren't. So this loses a bit of water, and we're going to top it off. Now, the big thing is the type of water you use. You want to use good, clean, pure, distilled water. So I'm going to grab a couple gallons just to get ready. I'll set those right there. I'll grab a fourth and go over here. Now to fill the battery, it's really simple. First things first, have safety glasses. There are nasty, nasty things in here. A battery has a fantastic energy density. If anything goes really, really, really wrong, safety glasses aren't going to do you a damn bit of good, because you'll probably end up burned, blind, and bleeding. But for any of the minor stuff, safety glasses are a good thing. So it's better to have them than not. Now the way to top it off is open your water. Just pop off the little safety ring. And if you spill a little water on top, it's fine. You won't hurt anything. You could hit this with a garden hose and it's not going to mess with it. You don't have to worry about any real voltage dangers. The overall voltage across the battery might mess with you. I think on this one it's like 36 or 48 volts. Really attentive viewers can count the number of cells and add it up. But usual like 12 volt battery stuff, you don't have to worry at all, even though it's massive amounts of amps. I mean, this thing could probably easily do a couple thousand amps impulse. Just touching across a couple cells, even reaching under the thing, you're fine. So you pop off the first cap, and you look inside, and down in here, let me get my flashlight, you can see there's a plate with it's a red plate, and almost all the ones I've ever seen have a triangle as an indicator, but there's a red plate in there, and that plate should be floating. Now don't stick your finger in and see if it's floating. That would be bad and you'll get hurt. What that actually is a plastic float, and it tells you where the water level is. So you just take your water, and you're going to spill a little bit. You could do this with a funnel, but I don't, because I don't have a funnel on me right now. And you just pour water, nice clean distilled water, into the hole. And when the plate moves, you're topped off. Now you can see my plate's bouncing around a little, so that means I got enough. And I'm going to add a little bit more. I want to just cover the plate. So there, my plate is now under about a 1/4 inch of water, so everything's cool. And I'm going to leave this open. And I'm going to go on to the next one. Now this plate's totally dry, and that's another thing you'll notice. Different cells will lose water at different rates. In my experience, and I'm not a battery professional or anything, but I play one on TV, the cells in the middle of the battery tend to lose water faster than the ones on the outside. And my theory on this is that the ones in the middle are better insulated thermally than the ones on the edges, so they stay warmer longer and they lose water because the water goes away by simple evaporation. So yeah, this one's bone dry. They keep getting worse as I go along here. You just pour the water in. And you can see it floated right there. Add a little bit more. I go a little high. You don't want to fill them all the way up. If you fill them all the way up, it'll boil right out the top. These actually boil when they charge. And if you fill that right up, the first time you put on to charge, you're going to make a massive mess. Now understand, when it comes out of here into there, it's totally safe. Like this water, you can drink this. This is pure, safe. It's just water. It's the same stuff you can drink. But the minute it goes in there, it mixes with acid. So coming out, mess you up real bad. If you get a little drop of that, like if you splash it and get on your shirt, you burn a hole in your shirt. And if you get on your skin, you'll burn a hole in your skin too. So that really sucks. Basic safety though, if you get any of this on your skin, you can neutralize it. I recommend rinsing it a lot with water, but to neutralize it in a hurry, baking soda is a good thing, which we have a box of it behind me, and ammonia works really good because you want to neutralize the acid. And keep your cables out of the way because they'll mess with you. This one's dry. See, now it isn't dry all the way down. It just means the water is below the level where it should be. And these things rely on the level of liquid inside them. It is a wet-celled battery. And that one's empty. So we just break into the next one. And that one's full. So we go on to here. And this takes time. You just take your time and do it right. And we'll do a nifty little time-lapse thing here for you while I rock out on the rest of these cells. Because I'm sure you guys don't want to just watch me pour water into batteries, because that's not terribly exciting. So we're going to do a nifty little time-lapse for you here, and I'm going to rock out on filling cells. Alright, and now we're out of the time lapse, and the battery is full. And that took, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 gallons? Something like that? I don't know, I didn't count. But we used a lot of water, and it's kind of funny, if you look on the front here, the battery is labeled waterless, which is good. We only have to add water to it, every 3 months or so, which is probably not as often as we should. And when we first got this, the forklift had sat idle for a lot of years, and the guy was like, well, it won't really hold a charge and it doesn't work very well, but we'll give it to you anyway, and hey, that's cool. So we liked the battery, and it fit the forklift. We added I think it was 15 gallons of water that day. It was way, way more than we planned. And we added the water, we let it sit a while, we did some charging and some finish charging and stuff like that, and the battery works. It's not a very good battery, but it's free, so we can't complain. I mean, it won't run all day, but for a normal production environment, this would be useless because they'd need it to work. They'd run it for 8 hours, charge it for 8 hours, and let it rest for 8 hours. But in our environment, this battery on a busy, busy day might see 2-3 hours of use. So for us, it works great. Now, we've filled everything up, and I'm going to go around over here, and I go back to my first hole because things settle. And it takes you a while to go through all the holes, so you can go back to your first one and say, yep, that one's still topped off, and this one's good. And you just look down and make sure that everything's like it should be. And that makes sure everything's cool. You want to look down, and because it can settle, there's capillary action, there's nooks and crannies, and more nooks and crannies in an English oven. And you just look inside and make sure it's cool and it's happy and there's water. And you just snap the little things down and you're good to go. And if you're really, really anal, some things you can notice, if you look on top of any of the little bridges, there's little holes. There's a little tiny pinhole, about an 1/8 inch hole. And what these are for is an electrical meter. And you can measure across, you can measure cell to cell, things like that. Each one of these is a cell. So the collection of cells is a battery. So when you see guys talk about like AA batteries, well, AA isn't actually a battery, it's just a cell. But if you take apart a 9-volt and look inside, it actually has 6 small cells. So a 9-volt is an actual battery. And I think the batteries in a 9-volt they're either AAA or quad A. I think they're quad A because they're really tiny. But that's the basics of it. You can, if you're doing serious maintenance on it, you want to measure the voltage of each individual cell and write it down, and you can number the cells and keep track of your voltage. And when you see them start to flip out, then you know you've got problems. You can learn a lot more about this stuff in our show notes. We'll put some links to some really good battery information. But yeah, that's the basics of it as far as battery maintenance. And now that I've topped off all the cells, the next thing you want to do is take the forklift to the charger, and you'll notice we're doing this at night. It's like it's almost 10 o'clock here right now. We've been working all day. And you top it all off, then you put on the charger, you let it charge, then it'll float charge it all night long, and then let it rest for about 8 or 10 hours, and that just equalizes everything and makes it happy. So yeah, that's the basics of battery maintenance. And then you just close your big lid, and on this forklift you got to pull that out to do it. And then you plug your battery right back in, and you're good to go. So there's your basics on how to top off the water in a lead-acid battery. Here's your little bit of knowledge for the day. I'm glad I could help you guys study a little bit of something new. You guys have fun. I'm Chris Bowden. We'll be back next time. Thank you. We're going to get back to work now.